Today we're checking out the new 2021 Ventum 30 from Hoyt. Welcome back to Mike's Archery's YouTube, and we are taking a look at the new 2021 Ventum 30 from Hoyt. And this is a redesigned platform that Hoyt has done this year with all new cams, all new riser, frankly a complete redo of what they have had in the past. Now the specs on the new Ventum 30, speeds coming in at 342 feet per second with an axle to axle of 30 inches. From there, the factory spec weight on it is coming in at 4.6. Now we threw it on the scale out of the box with everything on it, and it's 5 pounds. Now we did take off the new mini stabilizer and the dampeners, and we got it down to that factory spec of 4.6. So that's usually not where we see things from much of anybody, but you do always have to remove a few things usually to get it down to that factory spec weight, and they are pretty close once you get all the dampening extras off of this riser. Now the cams were completely redesigned for this year, and it's the new HBX Cam with a 2-mod system. Now if you were familiar with Hoyt's system in the past on their cams, they always had a base cam of a base cam 2, a base cam 3, and then sometimes they would even have a base cam 1 if you had really short draw lengths to get that draw length spread. The new cam design is just a single cam with 2 base modules. Now you still have a module 2 and a module 3, and a module 2 is going to take you from 25 to 28 inches in draw length, while the module 3 is going to pick up at that 28.5 and go out to 30 inches, where frankly that's where a lot of folks are going to fall, but it's going to give you the best performance out of both on this same cam, so you're always shooting on the best spot with the module and the cam. Now a part of that cam system redesign was also an 80 or 85% let-off option, and it is built into those modules. Now similar to the PSE system or some of the others, they've done away with that draw stop peg that you always had to move separate. The cable stop is built into that module, and then there's just a little Torx head adjustment screw there that's going to allow you to take that into that module and that cable stop and bump it from 80 or 85% depending on the let-off that you want, and you're going to move that all in one motion with just a couple Torx heads to adjust that rotating mod to be able to get the draw length that you need for your setup. Now frankly, as we've been shooting this bow, they are not what Hoyt normally puts out. This is a better feeling bow than they've had for the last several years, and it's built into this cam system. It's a smoother draw cycle. It's a better feel on the back wall. A lot of times Hoyt's wanted to kind of pull forward on you once you were at full draw, but these bows are not like that. They're coming over really smooth, and they are sitting very solid on the back wall, and that's all in this new cam with this new design. The brace height on this bow is coming in at 6 1/8 inch. Now with that is a really nice platform that you're going to be able to get 40 to 80 pound option limbs on this. So if you need those lighter pound options, you're going to be able to order every 10 pounds from 40 out to 80, and they are giving you that extra heavy set of limbs. That seems to be more popular these days, especially with the younger guys that can, handle the extra weight. But with this new cam, that smoother draw cycle is certainly going to allow you to probably shoot a little more weight than you normally would have on a Hoyt, and that part is good. So if you're looking to bump up in weight, this new draw cycle and that new cam is going to help you get there with a smoother draw. Now some of the features that they packed into this new design, they stayed with the integrated rest. Now they had the integrated rest last year, and that continues forward. So you can get that QAD integrated rest, dovetail slide it right onto the back of the riser. That's going to allow you to get things a little closer to the riser as far as your quiver, eliminates your rest hole and limb bolt possibly coming loose. It definitely makes a sturdy, durable platform for that rest to mount on there, and it's going to be right where you put it and no movement or adjustment from that rest bolt. The next thing that they did is they brought back that integrated sight system. Now it's a little different than what they have had in the past. They did have an integrated sight system once before, several years ago, but this new integrated sight system is going to work off a Picatinny rail. On the aluminum bows, it's going to mount directly on the front of the riser. So rather than mounting your sight on the side where you normally would, you're going to be able to mount a Picatinny rail system from Hoyt on the front of the riser, and then your sight is going to clamp directly onto that Picatinny rail. Again, slimming down that side of the bow where you can get your quiver in tighter, moving all of your components more centered to the bow. So from a balance and weight standpoint, you're not offsetting that weight to the outside of the bow. It's bringing everything more centered into the bow riser. And I feel that that's going to be a really good thing when you start shooting this bow. It's going to give it better balance, better feel, moving all those components further in. Some of the other integrated things that they've put into this is an inline stabilizer. So it's the short stop stabilizer. It's only 2¼ inches long. They do have it threaded in down here at the bottom of the riser and put threads there along with your dampeners. It sits just above the lower limb pocket. According to their engineers, putting the weight where it needs to be. It gives it a better feel, a better balance on the bow, and is a nice little addition there, adding a little more weight to the bow where it's needed. They still kept the standard stabilizer hole that's always been there, so if you want to move this up here or you want to put a standard stabilizer on this bow, you certainly can. Now along those same lines, they built the SL sidebar attachment that's going to be an integrated sidebar. In the riser is a couple of holes that you are able to take their new sidebar mount and bolt that directly onto the bow. It's a little lower than what most bow companies are allowing you to set a sidebar. So if you were to mount a sidebar up here at your standard stabilizer height that usually has a downturn or angles to get that weight, they're automatically mounting that sidebar lower on the riser and getting that weight down there where it needs to be to just give a better feel and a better balance on this bow. Now they did stay with a roller cable guard, and they have had that in the past, but it is a redesigned and different roller cable guard. Using 2 different size wheels sitting on top of each other to separate those cables rather than 2 separate wheels. Still a real good smooth feel, no chatter or anything like that. The bow comes in 11 colors, and Hoyt has always had a lot of options and some special makeups that they've had. They've got a couple new solid colors, bringing back that buckskin, kind of a tan color, as well as the wilderness, like an OD green type color. It still has your Realtree camos and your Gore and QU. And they still have their special makeup models. If you're looking for that Keep Hammer and Cameron Haynes model, there's a couple of those, as well as a couple of bone collector options, both of those coming in black or camo. So a ton of color options there from Hoyt if you want to customize this bow out the way you want to see it. There are lots of ways that you can do that. Also, at the price point on this bow is coming in at $1,099. That is the map retail on it, and that's where you're going to see it at most of your shops. So falling right there with a lot of your top end flagship bows at $1,100. The grip on the Hoyt did stay pretty much the same, and still a good feeling grip. It's still a fairly slim grip, not a straight machine grip like you would see from some other manufacturers. It does have some contour and fits well in the hand. It is somewhat of a polymer plastic there, but just gives it a nice warm feel and a good fit in the hand. I don't see that being an issue at all because Hoyt's always had a nice feeling grip, and that continues. So let's take a step outside and we'll shoot this bow over the chronograph and see what kind of speeds and performance this bow's putting out. We have stepped outside with the new Hoyt Ventum 30, and we're going to be shooting this over the chronograph, kind of give you an idea of how this bow performs and what it sounds like. As always, the 400 grain arrow, we are shooting this at 29 inches on 85% let off. With a 70-pound bow. So that'll give you kind of a baseline of where these numbers are coming from. So let's see how this bow performs. So 298, so just a real good speed there at 298. It's equaling out pretty similar to what the carbon bow is as well. They're all falling both there in the high 290s. So really good speeds, a little faster than what we've seen out of Hoyt in the past. Their new cam system, we are liking this new cam system, and it just feels really good in the hand. Smooth on the draw coming back, doesn't drop off real heavy on the back end. It's smoother than what we've felt in the past out of Hoyt. The 85% let off feels solid on the back wall, and even though it's still cable stops, they didn't go to a limb stop option here or anything like that. They've changed some things on the way that cam rotates, and it sits very solid on the back wall. So we're impressed with that from Hoyt for this year as well. And the hand shock on this bow is right there with everything else in the top end. And in the past, we've felt that they've had a little more hand shock than a lot of the other models. But this year, they have definitely got that toned down and feeling really good. Now, the decibel meter on that was 98.2. Right there where most things are falling, a little bit quieter than what the carbon was. And I think The feel between the carbon doesn't feel like a normal carbon bow, but the aluminum has got that normal sit in your hand and dead feel that you expect out of an aluminum riser bow. Overall, the shootability of the new Hoyts I think is going to be fantastic and something that you need to take a look at. If you're a Hoyt fan, and even if you're not, you might want to take a look at the new Hoyts. If you've rode them off the last few years, they've got a great feeling bow this year and something you might want to check out. So give us a call at Mike's Archery if you're looking for a new Hoyt.